Hey ho people, it's Stylosa and Kirioth from UnitLost.com. Whoa. I need some crazy echo to make me sound like I'm a big man. You know, like a winner.
You need some post-production magic. Not like that. That wasn't magic. That was terrible.
The thing with post-production, whatever the hell it is, post-production magic is it takes up my precious time. And being in the industry of win that I'm in, I have to devote all my time to winning. That's enough garbage talk anyway, son. So it's Gaming News Weekly. We missed last week, but that was for reasons out of our hands. So we can't really do much about that, can we, son? It's not like we can go back in time and do a relevant newscast, or even do it now because it's kind of pointless as it was a week ago.
I did think about trying to go back in time, but I watched that episode of Family Guy where he tries it and he spins around and lands on his face. I didn't fancy it, so we just left it.
It was also kind of expensive to do, so we just had to let it go. So we were sort of cheating though a bit, because really, if it's Gaming News Weekly, given the format that we usually do it in, we should be doing it from the 8th of October to the 14th. I do believe it's the 14th today. Indeed it is. You got to check these things. But we're going to cheat. We're going to start with the 7th. And on the 7th, Space Marine Exterminatus DLC is coming on the 25th of October.
It could be good. It's got to be better than the multiplayer that's in at the moment, let's face it.
Well, the multiplayer at the moment is just a total joke, ain't it? The only good thing about it, and I know you agree with me on this, is the customization, and that was it. Like, it had nothing else to offer, did it? It was just stupid.
Yeah, it didn't work. It does not work as a multiplayer game in that respect. But the Exterminatus is just your standard 4-player survival mode, which, let's face it, if you're a Space Marine, that's what you want. That's what the whole game's about. You're facing off against hordes of enemies and you're cutting them down.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I was hoping that was going to be in there from the start, because when they were all going on about co-op, which just turned out to be a massive bullshit lie, being in the game at launch, me and you were like, first of all, we thought, Jesus Christ, it's going to be co-op campaign. That would be pure. I mean, imagine that. It would have been good. That would have been. It couldn't. It really wouldn't have been that hard to implement. I mean, all they would have had to have done is, I mean, for some reason, you were 3 Space Marines. You had Captain Titus. You had the Sergeant. Was it Leandros was the newbie guy when he
was the scumbag.
Yeah, he was the scumbag, and I forget who the Sarge was called. But I mean, why couldn't a co-op player have taken over the role of the Sergeant or Leandros or someone, and just increase the difficulty of the enemies or more enemies? It seems a bit of a weak excuse, like. Because I know we were looking forward to that and we got totally robbed, even though in their bloody marketing it was like, yeah, it's co-op, and then it was like, oh, co-op will be DLC. Anyway, as like a last stand mode, I think we'll probably get a bit of gameplay out of it. But still, with Space Marine, what gruels me is the cost of the bloody game, and for the amount of content you get, it's not really very good, is it?
No, it doesn't square up. You get like 6 or 7 hours of campaign if you're slow about killing everything. And then you get the multiplayer, and now this last stand thing. It's not really worth the 35 quid they're asking for it.
No, it's not, and it's a shame because it is an enjoyable single-player game. Just a mindless running around, slashing things to pieces. You're a crazy Space Marine man from the future who kills everything, which is like, well, yeah, there you go. But still, it's a shame. But that it's some kind of a minor redeeming feature, but not exactly. It needed more, and it's a bit of a shame. So the next bit we've got, now we're actually on the 8th of October, is there were hints for Battlefield Bad Company 3. Bloody hell. Battlefield 3 Bad Company, Battlefield Bad Company 3.
I don't know what to think about this, to be honest, because the Battlefield Bad Company 2, what I got out of that was a decent multiplayer experience, which is what Battlefield 3 is providing pretty much exclusively. So
Battlefield Bad Company 2's multiplayer was quite good. I mean, it's almost like Battlefield 3. Well, the beta maps I played on, it felt like that was Bad Company 3, to be honest. It was just Bad Company with better graphics. The destruction was scaled back, although there was a clip released by DICE which showed off the destruction and it looked a lot better. Now, I don't know whether they've just somehow added extra particle effects or whatever, because I find it very difficult to believe that they'd be able to actually like go in and change the game engine at such a late date to allow for added destruction, but instead all they've done is overlaid some particle effects. I don't know. I'm not a coder or an engine designer, but to me that's kind of what it looks like.
I have to admit, I'm still not all that happy with the destruction. I mean, it does. If it looks a little bit better, then that's good. But it's still not what you want, really, is it? I wanted to see everything blowing up, like just proper full-on destruction. I mean, I know it's difficult to implement because, let's face it, on the scale of some of the maps like Caspian Border, having full-on destruction everywhere would probably be an absolute killer for servers.
They gave a stupid excuse, didn't they? Which it's kind of stupid if you look at it from one perspective, but from the other perspective, it sort of does make sense. They got like a get-out clause where they literally said the thing is, if you allowed everything to be blown up, there'd be no cover left. Now, in Bad Company 2, you could blow the buildings up, but it wasn't as if you could just turn up and blow the building up within seconds. You know, it took some punishment, and the building had collapsed. Like, you know, you get the Destruction 2.0, which I'm not too sure you get in Battlefield 3. Although, again, it's kind of hard to make any, you know, final decisions on it without actually having the game, which is a bit strange in itself. And another quick little rant about the Battlefield 3 beta itself. The devs were saying, oh, no, this is an older build. Well, why would you release an older build for your beta? Surely the whole point of a beta is to test your current build, make last-minute changes, and then push it to live, not say, yeah, this is an old build, we've got a better one, but we're not showing you that.
That, I have to admit, that confused me quite a bit, because didn't they reckon it was about, the build that was on the servers was about a month old or so, and they'd made quite a few changes since then?
There was quite a few different dates, like, but yeah, they did say it was an old build.
It's like, how do they know that the newer build works any better than the old one?
It's not either anything, is it? It's just basically we are trying to cover up for all the badness that was in it, because there were a lot of bugs. I mean, there were like massive game-breaking bugs, like you'd sink through the floor.
The flying tank, that was my favourite.
Yeah, the flying tank where it just flew off. It's like, well, what? You know, so that's like problems with whatever's gone on, and it's like, oh, quick, release a statement saying, oh no, actually this is like 2 months old. We've got this special version that we're working on. It's all dodgy. It's like, whatever. But we can pass judgment when the game comes out. Because, I mean, I'll be playing Battlefield 3 quite a lot. Because I need an FPS game to play. And provided it's not a total load of garbage, I'll be playing that. And I find it very hard to see it going backwards on itself. Because I did enjoy the beta when it worked. Metro, it started to grow on me. Metro did. But I think if I wasn't forced to play Metro, I probably would have been like straight into Conquest maps.
I think Metro is one of those things that I'll be playing every now and then if I fancy a change, but it's still not high on my list of things to do. No. When Battlefield 3 is released, it's all, to be honest, it's all about the massive tank and jet maps for me.
Yeah, that's what it's about, Battlefield, don't it? Because you can get, I suppose you could say, well, Modern Warfare, even though it's not the same thing in my book, but Modern Warfare does do the little close quarter combat better than Battlefield. Battlefield's about a battlefield, you know?
Yeah.
If you're after more of like an arcadey shoot, because the current Battlefield 3 in Metro, well, I say the current, but the beta build of it, it was a lot slower paced. Like, it wasn't like you rush in, and even compared to Bad Company 2, which I feel was a lot faster paced. Anyway, let's come out of Battlefield talk, because Battlefield 3 talk, BF3 talk, because I'll be here all day. The next thing we've got on the 10th of October was Rage gets patched.
This is a massive, massive patch. There's actually, we've got in the article linked to the Steam notes, and what they didn't patch, they explained why they weren't and what they were doing with it. They added things. There we go. That was the first thing on the patch list, was VSync, which I didn't realise was not in the game originally, because that's quite a standard thing to put in games these days, isn't it? VSync. Oh yeah, I see it in most of the ones that I load up, but apparently that's been implemented. There's a load of texture stuff done, because the Mega Texture Engine did not work out quite as they'd hoped. There's some amazing videos on YouTube.
The old texture popping was pure.
Yeah. You turn around and 4 seconds later the rest of the landscape appears, and you think,
so what gets me is like ID. It's built on graphics engine. That's what they do. I mean, it's ID Tech 5. It's a graphics engine. It's supposed to show off the like the graphical, oh, look what we've made, and it was broke. It's like, now, I know they were like, well, it was down to the graphic, ATI and NVIDIA. I do believe NVIDIA fixed the issue with the texture popping quite fast, or it was a lot more stable on NVIDIA cards with their drivers, whereas ATI was a bit of a clusterfuck, like getting it fixed. But still, both of them had issues, and you would think like with something so big as Rage, which they've been making for. Not the game itself necessarily, but the engine. They've been producing that for years. You would think to yourself, okay, well, I'll contact the driver companies, well, the graphics vendors, the graphics card companies, and say, look, my game's coming out with this. I need an optimized driver. Make it so. So you get this fixed, right, bloke? So like at least a month, at very minimum a month before launch, right? And then you know it's all good. Everything's not. Oh God, we've launched the game. It's all gone bad. Oh dear me. Oh, it's just reeks of capitulation to me.
It was. I mean, that's something that actually struck me when they were talking about the massive problems with this texture popping and how a lot of it was to do with drivers that weren't optimized for it. And I thought, hang on, wait a minute. The Battlefield 3 beta came out. Now, I was up to date with drivers for that, but I started to download a new driver to run it because it had been optimised for it.
Yeah.
As I understand it, I mean, that's why... In fact, I was talking to you when it happened. I loaded up the game and I was like, well, why is it telling me to get new drivers when I've got the most recent drivers? What's this about? And that's because they actually did something about it. The game
that's
needed...
a bit different though. Yeah, but that's because that's a beta. I mean, that's okay if they're doing it in a beta, but not when the game's launched. You've turned up, paid your 30 quid, your $50 or your $60 or whatever the conversion rate is, or your 45 euros or whatever they charge there, and your game's broke.
Oh yeah, but that's what I mean. The beta was totally free. You just signed up to it as an open beta, as it would be, being a beta, because they did it properly and all of this pre-order crap. And they got what they needed from the graphics card vendors. Rage was released. It turned out it was horribly optimised. There was texture popping everywhere, and nothing had been done about it after you paid for it. You know, it's like, I don't understand why.
Well, I mean, it's finally getting fixed now, but it's like a week after the fact. It's like a bit strange. It's like, that is not... I mean, and quickly on Battlefield 3 as well, I think the only possible thing they could have got out of that open beta was maybe like some kind of stress test on servers. I don't know, but whatever. Look, Rage is like... It's funny because it's called Rage, and you go on YouTube and you see all the Rage clips, and it's like, there was one where this guy was just going crazy. He was looking at the menu screen for the options, and I think they've fixed this now in a patch, but it was just like brightness and resolution and nothing else, and this guy was going, what the fuck? And then you had this massive bang, and then there was like an aftermath picture where he'd like threw his chair up the wall and snapped it. It was like, what the hell? Crazy. But you know, it's just like it's just funny, ain't it? They've called the game Rage, and you just could feel in your waters it was just going to capitulate. And I mean, off all the stuff, you know, the screenshots and the videos, it didn't actually look that, you know, like, wow, this looks great, crazy. I know we were going like, oh, it looks brown. You know, it does look brown. But I don't think it's brown to the extent of super, super brown. You know, because some of the skies and specifically like the textures on the canyons, they look pretty good. But yeah, it's not. I mean, it doesn't make me want to go out and buy the game.
Yeah, it doesn't. It lacks that sort of...
But all the bad press as well. I mean, with us involved with the news, you know, we see what's going on, and it's like, I don't want any part of this.
No.
Dear, oh dear. And also on the 10th as well, Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was sort of announced, but we've got more details on that later on, so we'll come back to that.
Yes.
And also again on the 10th, the Tribes Ascend beta will begin on the 4th of November.
If you want it, they've got 3 methods of signing up for this, which the first one, very standard, apply on the website to join the beta. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'd go for.
Yeah, you can also go onto Facebook or Twitter to do it.
Oh dear.
Which I don't know what it is about signing up for things through social media. I don't know why I don't like it, but I just don't. It strikes me as being a bit, not even unreliable. I just, this is your game. This is your site for your game. Don't spread it out everywhere. Get everyone in one place. That's the way I see it anyway.
Yeah, the other way... Well, we'll go into this later because I know it's going to crop up in another story.
Yeah. The other way of doing it is to pre-order the game.
Oh, dear.
Because, you'd want to make sure that the game you've already bought...
Yeah, but it's free to play, ain't it? So what's this about pre-ordering? It was free to play last time I looked.
You'll get access, bloke, to the VIP starter kit, which gives you some bonus features and a 33% saving on stuff.
Oh dear! So it's like a starter kit almost.
Yeah, although it's the guy, Mr. Harris, Mr. Todd Harris, who's the head of Hi-Rex Studios, says Hi-Res even Hi-Rex.
Hi-Rex, it's like some massive dinosaur thing.
Good lord! He says that the VIP starter kit is not a buy one get everything pack. But it is a way to get VIP status in the game, which will put you in a more elite set of queues. So,
excuse me?
Yeah. What that means in English, I'm not entirely sure, but it smacks to me of buy stuff to make yourself better. I mean, maybe I've misread that, but the whole get a VIP thing and get into an elite set of queues. Although surely everyone's put in the same queue because they're all playing this. Who knows? Who really knows?
That's what I hate about free-to-play games when they do stuff like that. The best one I've seen is League of Legends because look, just buy the skins. Everybody plays on a level playing field, and that's it. No stupid extra crap. I know you can get the things which increase your XP gain and whatever, but and the little IP boost, but they're not anything that's really going to break the game, is it?
No.
Like that shit. Hello, Mr. Kirioth. I'm a super VIP. I'm going to play Tribes Ascend. Oh, look, I can join a server straight away. And you're like, well, I ain't got a VIP account. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I mean, what the hell? Anyway, so the next thing we've got is on the 11th of October. Now, this is quite interesting, this is. You can pre-order Afterfall Insanity for $1. Now, I hadn't heard of this game until Rico put the news post up. Basically, it's like a horror game, but it looks quite good.
It does. It looks all right, but the problem I've got with this is you pre-order it for $1, and if they don't get 10 million pre-orders, so that's quite a lot. That is a lot of money, $10 million. They'll give away all of the money that they've got to charity, which seems a bit.
But hang
backwards.
on, it's only for pre-orders though. Yeah, but it's only for pre-orders if you think about it. Like this game, I'd never heard of it, but you can imagine it's going to pop up on Steam and it'll be, probably 30 quid or something like that. But for the pre-orders, I mean, I've pre-ordered it for $1. And if they don't make 10 million pre-orders, which is going to be impossible, I don't think they're not going to make 10 million pre-orders. That just seems ridiculous. It says here, if we don't get 10 million pre-orders, we will give every $1 to charity. So they will be giving money to charity. I mean, at the moment, the website's only got 16,657 pre-orders. So that's quite a long way to go.
It's a long way to go.
10 million.
The thing for me is like it would work better for me if they said if we get 10 million, we'll give half of it to charity. Because of the way it's phrased at the moment, it's like if they get 10 million pre-orders, then they're $10 million up, and they don't give anything to charity. Which is sort of I don't know how to phrase it. It's like, why would you say we will do this unless we become massively rich? In which case, we won't.
It's almost like pocketing the donation box, ain't it? If it overfills, okay, I'll go out on the street, money for the poor. But if it fills up, it's all full. I'm pocketing it and taking it away. Yeah, I see what you mean now.
That's what it feels like. It's like
it's not what it feels like. It's what it is, ain't it?
Yeah,
you bastards.
It seems like the wrong way round. I mean, if you raise $10 million, you can give $5 million away. That's.
Or even $1 million, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
or even 100,000. I mean, what the hell?
It's like saying, if you don't make us super rich, then we'll help other people. But if you do, we won't bother. Which is like... maybe that's a harsh way of putting it, but that's what it looks like to me. I mean, fair play if they don't manage it and do give it all away, which I'm sure they will. But I can't help but feel that I'll resent them a little bit if they do make it, because that means that...
hang on. Has any game ever received 10 million pre-orders? I don't think it has, it? So it's like... I don't even think stuff like Battlefield does and things like that, and maybe Call of Duty probably receives 100 million pre-orders.
We don't talk about that.
So I mean, actually, there's a comment off Drenny on the post on the site, and he says I'd like to buy a few of these codes to give out to people and whatnot, but I can't help but feel like this whole thing is just very clever. I'm not going to say scam, but it sort of is. I almost wonder if the only reason they're giving it to charity is because they might run into some legal issues if they just take people's money for a game and pocket it. If they don't get 10 million pre-orders, maybe not the only reason, but it might be a factor. Am I being too cynical? So it's like, you can see that's kind of your argument as well. It is kind of interesting, but as I say, I've pre-ordered it because it's like a game for $1 that I can cover for unit lost. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's as a game itself, I think it looks all right, but it's just that aspect of it that's making me a little bit, suspicious, I think is the phrase.
Well, you can go from suspicious to being absolutely disgusted because Duke Nukem Forever's got a first access club, also on the 11th of October.
Yes, this is the Hail to the I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say this. The Hail to the Icons parody pack is the shittest idea for downloadable content that I've ever heard. You can take your stupid, idiotic, crap-flinging Duke Nukem, and then you can make him do stupid crap.
I hate this game. I absolutely hate this game.
I can't stand it. It's like the entire game was a parody of itself in a bad way because it wasn't meant to be. And it was full of pathetic references, like seeing the Master Chief's helmet on a shelf, which is not a clever reference, is it? It's not
No.
like someone did a funny wordplay. It's just, oh look, there's a game that we based some of the features of this on. Ha ha ha! Isn't that funny? It's not funny. It's not clever. It's just crap. And oh god, I'm scrolling up. I can't look at it. I just can't.
Duke Nukem's crap. Do not buy Duke Nukem. I noticed it was on special offer on THQ on the Steam sale that's going on this week. If you bought it. Next, we've got on the 11th of October is this is. Hang on, is this the last Mass Effect story we've got?
No. There's yet another one. It's all the same story but spread over. But
let's leave it to the end then. Dead Rising 2 off the record on the 12th of October.
This is just a little trailer, basically. It's an expansion for Dead Rising 2, and it's out now. Gamersgate, Direct to Drive. I have to admit, I never played Dead Rising 2. I completely forgot it existed.
I did. I remember it because it was you were like a stunt motorbike driver in like some kind of crazy Las Vegas style place, and all the zombies come. You were killing the zombies. That was it. Yeah. Because in Dead Rising 1 there was a zombie infection, wasn't there? And this was like a game where you killed the zombies, or who could kill the most zombies, like some kind of sick blood sport. But the zombies got loose, and then everybody was dying. And it's just a game where you just go around killing people. Because I think the first one was based in a shopping mall. Kick my chair, and I believe that I think I played that on the Xbox, and I'm sure it was one of the first titles for the Xbox 360.
Is that the stupid one where you could make different weapons out of stuff and batter people, and you could stick like chainsaws on the end of mops and go around on a little tricycle stabbing people with things?
Yeah, and like ride a shopping cart, trolley into people and all mad stuff like that. Yeah, and put like stupid things on your head. It was just crazy. It was funny but crazy. And Dead Rising 2 is the same thing. Can get old pretty fast though. So I mean, if you enjoy killing zombies for hours on end and hundreds of them, then it's your game. If you don't, then you kind of, like me, I kind of got a bit bored. It was like, well, it was all right for a couple of hours, but then not really the best. And now on the 13th of October, we've got some interesting stuff on Bethesda. Now I'll tell you what, the name Bethesda, I always want to say Bethesda for some reason. It doesn't even spell that. It's like Bethesda. Anyway.
This is the other thing. Is it Bethesda or is it Bethesda? Because I say Bethesda, but...
Bethesda? I don't know. I don't even know. It's like, whatever, Bethesda versus Mojang.
Either way, it's still stupid. They've RPS managed to get an interview with a guy called Alex Chapman, who's advising on the case between Bethesda and Bethesda and Mojang. And I'm guessing from the article, just guessing, that he is in fact advising on the side of Mojang, because he actually said that he doesn't know why Bethesda are doing it, which wasn't the greatest start to an interview, but it's just an interesting little thing. It talked about how indie developers and things need to be careful about what words they pick for their games and what titles they choose, and they need to be wary that there are other companies out there, such as Bethesda, who will look at you and say, I'm afraid we own that word, sir, and come after you. Oh, yeah, and they've got the money to do it as well. It's not like they're small companies. It's like, if they want to have a word with you in the court, they're going to have a word with you in the court. Even if it's so stupid, money talks at the end of the day, unfortunately, and it's like, well, they don't agree with you, son, so they're coming after you. And I mean, it's not going to be a high-level management decision, is it? Or maybe it is. Again, I've not worked in any kind of environment like that. Surely it'd just be a legal team, or like their legal department just going... The head of Bethesda has actually said that it's not like they're not going after Mojang for money. They're trying to protect their intellectual property, which is, I mean, on the one hand, that's fair enough. You don't want people to start, just claiming that stuff they do is similar to yours, but it's the fact that there's no danger of them losing their intellectual property or it being confused with something else in this case. It's just, the two things are so far removed. Scrolls and the Elder Scrolls are in no way similar. So it's like they're trying to protect their intellectual property from something that bears no relation to them whatsoever. Do you know what I can see happening here? I can see like Mojang winning it, because I don't see why they would lose it. And then they'd bring out like an expansion called the Older Scrolls or something like that. I would absolutely love it if they did that. Oh, that'd be so funny, that would. Anyway, again on the 13th of October, Mr. Kirioth, he comes with his Tales of LOL, but this time it's Crystal Chaos. Oh, Dominion. Is this like the Crystal Maze? That was amazing. that was a quality program, that was. It's basically I've started playing Dominion a lot more than normal.
Well, I have played Dominion quite not loads. I always play the Summoner's Rift more. But I do find myself just going in for like a quick 15-20 minute game on it. And I tell you what, and this is quite bad to admit, I tend to just do retarded things on it. Like I'll just go in blindly for the kills, like crazed.
But that's the thing, that's one of the things I enjoy about it, because it's like, when I first started out, I tried using various characters like Jax and Garen. Although Jax and Garen go straight away. There's always at least one Jax and one Garen in any Dominion game, because they're so easy to gear up and get good with straight off.
I see a lot of that Poppy as well, I do.
Yeah, she's surprisingly... I don't know why she is, but Vayne as well, she also goes quite quickly. I tried Riven, but Riven is...
She got sold down the Riven.
I got sold down the Riven. She's terrible. I can't stand her. I don't know. It crushes me that I bought her. You know, my hard-earned IP's gone down the drain.
I remember a certain gaming news where you were like, "Oh yeah, Riven's quite a good character. Oh yeah, bought her. Oh dear."
Well, yeah, she looked really good.
Selling.
Yeah, she looked really good. And then I came to play her, and I was like, "Well, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. I don't want anything to do with it." But it's basically, I've gone back to Blitzcrank because he's the way forward. The man with the fist is always the one you should go for because he's just made of win.
He's got the Horn of Win as well.
Yeah.
It's better than the Horn of Gondor.
I demand some sort of video that involves the scene with the Horn of Gondor, but Blitzcrank is there instead. I don't know how you do it, but I want to see it.
Makes sense.
No. I just want to hear the horn. Anyway, that's probably enough of that.
Crazy bastard.
Let's go on, son. Let's go on.
Well, anyway, that's our old man Kiri's LOL Chronicles, the latest update. Again, the link will be in the description, and I'll probably just load the video with annotations as well, because there won't be. Well, you can clearly see there ain't no gameplay footage over this. It's just a massive Unit Lost logo and loads of annotations. October the 13th, again, yeah, we're still on the same day, is 11 minutes of the new Syndicate. Now, first of all, well, I'll tell you what happened, right? I've seen this clip. I've seen it. I've seen the first 20 seconds, maybe, and then I skipped through, and just quit it. I maybe watched it for about, I don't know, 30 seconds total, if that, right? Although I was kind of distracted at the time. Straight away, when the guy gets off the, I think he's on like a helicopter. Well, it's not a helicopter; it's like a drop ship thing. I could see it was a console controller aiming with the targeting thing, like because it was going dead smooth and dead slow. And I just thought, I can't be arsed with watching this, so I just got rid of it. Like anyway, I came back today and watched the whole clip, and I was quite impressed, really. I mean, I don't know what you thought about it, but
I'm actually, people won't like this because the precious Syndicate.
Well, it is Syndicate, yeah.
It's being defiled by first-person shooter type stuff, as we know, from the millions of people going, no, don't do it.
Well, it is though, isn't it, in a sense? But
it is, but that's not going to stop it from being a good game, I don't think, because it looks quite good. I mean, they've got stuff from every other first-person shooter known to man, admittedly. They've got upgrade systems.
Half Deus Ex stuck into it.
Yeah, half Deus Ex rammed in at the side. They've got things like upgrade systems, mind hacking, various other things from other games.
It looked a lot more violent, though. I mean, even from the start, when he goes in and the guy he's with, the agent he's with, just says, civilian casualties, they mean nothing to us, like. And I thought, oh, right, okay. And he just walks through the door, shoots two blokes in the face, and then a lift comes down, and it's got like a random scientist, and he shoots him in the face, and then like kicks his legs out of the way and says, you're in my way. Goes on the lift. I was like, hey, this looks crazed.
It just looks good. I mean, that's the only way I can say it, because one of the things that is sort of drawing me to it is it has got that edge of we're doing what we like. You know, you can go in, you can kill anyone, you can just go in, butcher everyone. That's how you complete the mission. And I know it sounds silly, but there's not a lot of games that just has you walking around as a complete badass, butchering people down because they're in your way anymore. That doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't, does it? It was quite refreshing to see it. I mean, and also the bit just after that where he does the mind hacking thing, which was shown on a previous clip, because everybody's got these chips in their head. That was quite, that looked quite well done as well. And also when he was running through environments and like different objects and whatnot were popping up, and you could change the environment by hacking stuff. The idea of everything being digitally connected makes more sense to me in a future environment, because you can kind of see that happening already now. I mean, most people have got smartphones. People have got tablet computers. You know, you're connected to the internet all the time. You're on a digital network, and it did seem to make a bit more sense. Like whereas your Deus Ex was like a whole load of, you know, bioengineering craziness. This looked more feasible. If you
to me,
use that word,
I just like the general sci-fi feel of it as well, because it with the way that everything's interconnected and you can do all these different hacking things, and even just the mind hacking itself. I don't know why, but that just, to me, that seems just unspeakably awesome. It's just the fact that everything looks very coherent. It's like it doesn't look like there's going to be anything that suddenly makes you think, oh no, that doesn't look right, which is what I found with Deus Ex.
What I don't understand is why it's called Syndicate there. They could have just called it anything. It didn't really... It's not like Syndicate. You know, a lot of the people who will purchase this game will even know what Syndicate was or is. They won't care. I mean, they could have called it something else, you know, another bloody single word name. You know, I mean, what could they have called it? Cyber War. You know,
Cyber War.
You know, they could have called it something retarded like that, and you just would have accepted that and thought, hey, this is pretty good. But no, they've gone with Syndicate, and it's like, well, that causes people to hate it. And initially I was like, well, hang on, what the hell? This is not Syndicate. Why is it in FPS? My first reactions were, they're making it in FPS because that's what sells. All the console kiddies want the next Call of Duty. They want the next, you know, the FPS game. That's what they want. Yeah. They don't want, you know, some bloody tactical game with a top-down view. They don't want any of that.
Yeah, but the thing is, I like the fact that it doesn't look that simple so far.
No, it don't. It's kind of redeemed itself on that 11 minutes of footage I've seen it. To me, it's like, I just forget it's Syndicate and just think it's some kind of... Well, even if I say it's Syndicate, it's not Syndicate, but it's just a FPS game in the future, and it looks quite good. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that now, whereas before I was just like, well, I don't really give a shit about that. So that's refreshing. Refreshing, son.
Delightful.
Delightfully refreshing. So now we got a little bit of, it's quite big news. This is on the 14th of October, which I do believe is today. Dark Millennium. Well, this was actually last night, but we got it today because that's how crap and slow we are. Dark Millennium details are now in the wild.
Some absolute legend turned up on Warseer, the Warhammer forums, independent forums. I should probably point that out. And just, in fact, here's the first line from his post. A little birdie has dropped me some more info as well, which is a massive, and I mean massive, list of details for the game. Everything from classes, so Space Marine, you can be tactical, heavy, assault. You start out as a scout to get to a Space Marine. There are things like assassins. That's the other thing. You start out as like a guardsman type person, and you progress to an assassin. There's loads of stuff. The way that it's set out, disorder versus order, same as Age of Reckoning.
See, this is kind of where people who are crazily into 40k, I mean, I know you are yourself, get a bit like, oh dear, what's going on here? Because you read, I know the game's years off. I mean, was it 2013? It was
March 13th, 2013.
Yeah, so, you know, that's a long way off. But when you read things like, it's split into the disorder and the order. An order race is being the Space Marines and the Eldar, and then disorder being the Orcs and the Chaos. Now, I'll let Mr. Kirioth give you a lesson here on the way 40k lore works, because he's better than me at it. And I'm sure you'll think to yourself, excuse me?
Well, this is the thing. The way they've done it, or the way they allegedly are doing it, yeah, the way it's been said they're doing it with order and disorder, it depends entirely on the implementation, right? Because if you zone into an instance, say, and you've got 3 Space Marines and 2 Eldar, that does not work. That is not within the lore of 40k. That has never been the case. Space Marines are the most xenophobic, you know, blood-hungry zealot maniacs. If you're not human, you're dying. Yeah, pretty much. If you're not human, you're dead. That is it. If they see something that isn't human, regardless of what it is, it will effectively be killed. A good example of that is when they found the Tau Empire. They found it and they were like, oh, look, these lads have developed quickly. I wonder what's going on here. Oh, they're quite intelligent. They've got decent weapons. We'll just have to go in and wipe out their entire race. Now, that's not, that's not an indication of how they view alien species. If they're there, they should not be there and should be killed immediately. That's it. So you should not be having, like, groups of Eldar and Space Marines fighting together. Yes, alien freak! Same with Orcs and Chaos. Now, Orcs have been known to do mercenary activity, sort of thing. Like, if you can promise them a massive battle and all the weapons they can eat.
That's all Orcs live for, ladies and gentlemen, is the fight, basically.
They just want to butcher, and that's all they're there for. They will occasionally fight with people, but not. It's not like someone goes up to them and says, "Would you like to be in a long-term alliance so that we can defeat the Imperium?" It doesn't work like that. You go up to them, you say, "I know where there are 100,000 Guardsmen. Would you like a fight?" At which point they say, "Point us towards the fight and get out of the way, or we'll kill you as well." You're not going to have Chaos and Orc in the same group either, for that reason, because the Orcs do not like anything at all. They don't even like other Orcs. If they're not fighting other people, they're fighting themselves. So you can be damn sure that they're not going to look at Chaos and go, "Oh, well, those lads look a bit substantial, we'll just side with them." Because they wouldn't do that. And Chaos don't like the Orcs because the Orcs can't be turned to Chaos. Why would you bother with them? You just murder them and get them out of your way. So the Disorder versus Order, where it's like Eldar and Space Marines, well, the Imperium, versus Chaos and Orcs, will not work if they just stick everyone together in like a big lump of a group of an army. It'd just
be totally retarded, wouldn't it? I mean, you imagine it. Hello, Mr. Kirioth, you're an Inquisitor. This is an even worse example. And or a Grey Knight or something. Hello, I'm an Eldar warp spider. You'd be like, "Excuse me." Or even if I was Chaos, well, that doesn't work because they have Disorder. But you see what I mean? It's just it is just a bit strange. But then you can't go around saying factions are going to be specific, because everybody knows for a fact Space Marines will be the biggest played faction. So if there was, well, the Imperium will. If there was like, well, I think actually with Space Marines their own faction, wouldn't they? Yeah, because it doesn't have the Imperial Guard in, does it, at the moment? Or it's not stated down that it's in.
They've got things like Psychers and Assassins and stuff, but Assassins don't tend to operate by themselves. Well, no, Assassins operate by themselves, but you'll more commonly see Assassins with or working in conjunction with Space Marines. Not directly, indirectly, but you don't tend to find like a massive Guardsman army with 100,000 tanks and 1 million men storming a world with like an assassin tagging on behind them. It doesn't work like
that. Yeah. Because the Space Marines are more surgical, ain't they? So it makes sense that they're not a massive army that's going to. Although they used to be, didn't they, bloke, before they got kipper? But anyway, it's not a lesson in 40k.
There is actually, it's important to say, there is a way in which it can work, which is the Order and Disorder thing isn't something that was just made up like by Age of Reckoning. Every now and then, Games Workshop has like massive worldwide campaigns for 40k, and the way that's fought is in terms of Order and Disorder. So for Order, you'd have Tau, Imperium, Eldar, and someone else, I can't remember who else it is. And then on Disorder, you've got Orcs and Chaos and Dark Eldar and Necrons and all that kind of thing. They don't fight together, though. It's like they will coincidentally become involved in the same battles. And it might be that, say, if there was a battle between the Space Marines...
Tyranids are the other ones. What would they be? They wouldn't be Order, would they? They'd be in their own thing, wouldn't they?
I genuinely don't know where they come in. I think it might be Disorder, but they might just be like some sort of chaotic faction that just goes around doing whatever the hell they like. Because that would make more sense. Because let's face it, no one bargains with the Tyranids, really, do they? They just turn up and eat your world, and that's it.
Eat your world.
But it's like there are a lot of sort of examples of where Town Space Marines have inadvertently fought together, but it's not like it's a fixed alliance. It's, oh hell, there's like a massive
war coming towards
it's
like they'll fight for a common cause against a common enemy, but then as soon as the fight's over, if the Space Marine season or the Space Marine commander decides, oh, we can kill the bloody Tau guy, he'll go for it. Where it's not like it's not like, cheers lads, we're all chummy. That's why it sounds a bit ridiculous. If it's the standard MMO format where you've got like your 5 or your 6 man group, and you've got like Space Marines and Eldar and Tau all together, it's like no,
it just doesn't work. It's just not. But
it's years off though. So, but based on what we've been told here, or what we can find on the Warseer forum, again I'll link to it. Well, I'll link to the post on our website, and you can get to it from there. It's pretty. Oh, there was another thing as well. Now you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but it says hero classes will be possible, unlocked when your character gets high enough level. Imperium, Grey Knight. Now, you can't. A Space Marine does not simply become a Grey Knight, does he? Because it's like, ain't the Grey Knight supposed to be like uncorruptible?
Yeah,
and they fight primarily in the Eye of Terror or some ridiculous place where chaos comes through. And it's like they're the purest of the pure.
Yeah, there's never been. I don't think there's ever been a corrupted Grey Knight. It's the same as Sisters of Battle. There's never been a corrupted Sister of Battle either.
Yeah, but then what about this though? I mean, a Chaos Sorcerer, okay, you could kind of say they're comparable. But an Orc Ard boy and a Weird boy against a Grey Knight?
I know, that's just
Grey Knight slash him.
That's ridiculous because the Ard boys, they are... This is the thing. As suggested, the Ard boys are quite hard. It's like...
Tell them about Orcs. Tell them how Orcs get... How they work.
But it's like...
Like how they become a knob and all the rest of it.
Well, basically, the way Orcs work is... All Orcs pretty much start about the same size. But the more they fight and the more they kill, the bigger they get. So if you come across a war boss that is like twice the height of a Space Marine, then that war boss has most likely murdered more people than you would find on an entire world. You know, he's completely obliterated everyone. And any Orc that's tried to stand against him has been butchered. Now, behind the war boss, you get the knobs, who are ridiculously solid, but still not as solid as the war boss.
No.
Then you get like the Ard boys, who are, you know, they're a bit bigger than your average Orc, but they have armour, which isn't actually armour because most of the time they just nail it straight onto their skin.
So like, just bits of metal anyway.
If a bit of metal is just blowing off a tank, you might find an Orc who thinks, if I put that on myself, then I won't get shot as easily. So he'll pick it up and he'll nail it to his chest because he's an Orc and he's solid. But the Ard boy is not comparable to a Grey Knight.
It's stupid.
Or a sort of
I mean, and who am I? I'm not no mad 40k lawman. And even I was like, hang on, an Ard boy is not like, you know,
I'm hoping that's just. I mean, the thing is, it's on the Warseer forums, and if you're on the Warseer forums, you know at least a bit about 40k, just from being on there, because that's all it is. But if it actually, I'm hoping it's not the case, and this is one of the things that's wrong. Because let's face it, some of this stuff's got to be wrong. It's a huge list. There's got to be a few mistakes in here somewhere.
You'd hope.
But the Ard boy, comparable to a Grey Knight or a Chaos Sorcerer, you'd need to be like a knob or actually a war boss, or you know,
even a knob wouldn't compare, would it? A knob wouldn't compare to a Grey Knight.
A knob might be able to take him, but it would have to be a lucky knob, really, because Grey Knights are like the ultimate. I mean, Space Marines are
They're
ultimate.
Like the hardest Space Marines, ain't they? If you think about it,
they're solid. They're absolutely beyond solid. They've got the best weapons. They've got the best armor. They're just ridiculously powerful. So an Ard boy versus a Grey Knight would be like just a normal Orc with some metal attached to his face running up to the Grey Knight, and he would then die instantly, probably just from being looked at, to be honest. So it's like, I really hope that does not actually go through. And because that's the bit that strikes me as weird. Grey Knight, fine. Chaos Sorcerer, fine, because Chaos Sorcerers are bloody powerful.
Yeah, they're solid.
They've made pacts with gods. You know, they're up there. Eldar, Farseer, again, Farseers are solid. They know all the secrets of the universe, and they've got all that going on.
Don't they know the secrets of the warp and all kinds of crazy?
Yeah, and they've got their own their own webway portal thing that goes through everywhere. Which is like, okay, yeah, you got to be solid to use that. And then Ard boy, an Orc with a bit of metal attached to his shoulder, and just no. Or Weird boy as well. Weird boys are all right, but they're prone to blowing themselves up. So how does that? That's not that sort of Weird boy is a little more comparable, but he's still.
I think the only thing that even compares is a war boss, isn't it? Really, compared to all of them, it's just like. But again, you can't have the war boss because that's like having the chapter master from a Space Marine. The big baddest, hardest Space Marine in a chapter.
They need to find a way of spacing it out because there are a lot of war bosses, but the thing is, you wouldn't be able to have like in a party of
a war boss.
Yeah, in a raid, you couldn't have like 12 war bosses because they just lore-wise they just butcher each other to the floor. I mean, the one in Space Marine, the war boss in Space Marine. Now he, in fairness, could probably take a Grey Knight because he was massive and he had a V8 on his back that powered a giant claw. So I
See,
mean,
when he punched the demon prince in the face, didn't he?
yeah, I mean, he could probably take on a Great Iron King, but Hard Boy or Weird Boy, just no. That I'm hoping that's something that's going to be thought through more. But it's little things like that that are probably prone to changes. But other stuff that's been listed, stuff like player progression, level 0. You're an adept, so you're just a little weakling, basically. And then level 10, or more or less, it says here, you become a scout. Level 20, you get equipped with more better gear, better weapons. Then level 30, you become a standard Space Marine, so you're not like a hero, but you're still a Space Marine, so you're pretty solid. And then as you go up, you become Honor Guard, Sergeant, Captain. And level 60, it says Artificer Armour, Iron Halos, the whole shebang. Which is, well, if at level 60 you get Artificer Armour and Iron Halos and Thunderhammers and stuff, then I'll be happy. And that would make sense because you would be in a position to do that.
I think though that at some point you're going to have to take like a concession on the law because it just doesn't really work with the game design thing. Like,
yeah.
Just we're going back to like who's going to play what race. Everybody will be Space Marines.
Yeah.
You're going to get the people who are going to go, oh, where's my Sisters of Battle? I ain't got a minute. I want to be part of the Inquisition and all this crap. And it's like, well, yeah, but you can't. We can't keep putting all these races in. And also you get the people who want to play Imperial Guard. Well, where's one character, a guardsman. I mean, the Hard Boy, it's /20 guardsman. You know what I mean? It's like the guardsman. He's the worst of the worst.
No one. I think there's been no mention of actually having an actual sort of Imperial Guard type faction.
But even somebody like a Commissar, even they've got no word for Space Marine / them.
Although Commissar Yarrick,
but didn't he slash a war boss?
Yeah, he's got a power claw like a war boss has because he murdered the war boss and took it for himself. Which is, but he's like a one-off. It's not like every Commissar is just an absolute hero. They've got quite high up by surviving battles, essentially, which is all you can do as an Imperial Guardsman. If you come out at the other end of a battle alive, then you are infinitely better than all the ones who have died. You're still crap, but at least you're not dead. Yeah. And Commissars like to step up, so...
Is it the Generals the highest, ain't it, in the Imperial Guard?
Yeah, Generals.
The Generals.
Heroic.
And I think somebody actually said something. It'd be like a Space Marine becoming a Grey Knight would be like an Imperial Guard General suddenly becoming a Space Marine. It's like it don't work like that.
Yeah, they'd be like 60 years too late for a start.
Anyway, on the 14th again, so today, I don't understand this. The Team Fortress 2 Maniversary.
Oh yeah, well it's just the bit where you get the hats and stuff, all your random paraphernalia and junk to go on your character's head for Team Fortress 2. That's a year old, so they've been selling stupid hats for a year effectively.
Oh dear.
So they've called it the Maniversary, which I'm sure
and it's like a picture of a man baby exploding out of a bear.
Yeah, I don't.
Who's me?
I don't.
Let's just move on because I ain't got a clue about that. Now, this is the final bit of news we've got for you today, and this is we're going to go into Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I'll let Kirioth introduce this.
Which is, as it says in the title, it's detailed and baffling. It took me about 30 minutes of just pure thinking to get my head around this because it seems unnecessarily complicated. But what you've got, basically, you've got your single player for Mass Effect 3. And you've got your multiplayer, which is a 4-person co-op survival mode, which, just as a side note, is epically lazy. Just thought I'd add that in.
Space Marine, epically lazy.
Yeah, and the multiplayer is called Galaxy at War, and at first glance, it looks like the multiplayer affects the single player. So you get together with your mates, if you have any, or you plead with people that you vaguely know to play the game with you. Please! And you stand up in your little area, in your multiplayer, and you fight off waves of enemies that get increasingly more difficult, which probably sounds familiar because it's the oldest form of co-op known to man, and has been used in every game where they couldn't be asked to put a proper one in. So, you've got your lad. He can be one of 6 classes. I only know of 4 at the moment, which is Soldier, Infiltrator, Engineer and Sentinel, which, if I remember correctly, are all classes from the single player anyway, aren't they?
Yeah,
soldier,
they are.
infiltrator. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was a soldier.
And you can pick from the races as well. So human, Krogan, Azari, Drell, Solari, and Turian. If you don't pick Krogan, then you're a big wimp, effectively.
Krogans are the best.
Yeah. So you've got your guy, you've got your Krogan soldier. Let's have a Krogan soldier.
Good
and
lord.
You're fighting off these waves of enemies. The more you play the multiplayer, and the harder the waves of enemies get, the stronger your multiplayer character gets. So you like level them up and skill them up the same way you do in single player. So that's like a little game in and of itself there, albeit not a very imaginative one. But the stronger and better your multiplayer characters get,
Oh dearie me,
the more
this is where
influence.
It gets interesting, people.
Yeah, the more influence and the better your single player shepherd gets. So the single player shepherd gets power and influence depending on how powerful your multiplayer character is.
So I'm going to jump in at this point. The thing is, you've got a single player game, all right, which is quite a good single player game. Why would you make people go and play multiplayer to become better at a single player game?
Well, this is the thing, right? Not only that, sir. Oh no, they've gone all out with this. As you play the single player, you'll get war assets, which you can use in the multiplayer to get stuff like allies and ships and fleets and reinforcements.
Right.
So playing the single player improves the multiplayer, which in turn, by playing the multiplayer, improves the single player.
It just seems a load of horrid. Why wouldn't they just allow you to play co-op single player? Right? Space Marine should have allowed you. I don't understand what this is about, and who the hell comes up with these design decisions, because they're shit.
This is the question of the day, I think, to be honest, because let's face it, we're talking about Mass Effect. We're talking about BioWare, who, in my opinion, has created some really very good games. Mass Effect 2, I've played that through about 4 times now, and I'm in the middle of doing it
Mass
again.
Effect 2, yeah.
I really like that. I believe Dragon Age.
Yeah, and also
Origins?
the the
That
Old
was
Republic as well.
That
Not
was a
Old
fantastic
Republic,
game.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
That was a good game as well.
But
there's my chair again. Good lord.
they're not bad. They're not a bad game developer. They produce really good games. Admittedly, I didn't particularly like Dragon Age 2, but
No, that was shit. That was the worst one.
that was just questionable, and hopefully they've learned from that because it didn't receive anywhere near as good a reception as Origins. But aside from that, I'd argue that they've produced some damn good, solid games. So why have they now suddenly turned up with a game that has historically been, part of a series that's always been single player and has been very good single player, and effectively just tack on a survival mode to the side? Why
And
have
try
they
and
not?
market it. Oh, well. Why, as well, does it say that associated applications will be used, as in the sense of Facebook apps and Twitter crap and all this crap, and that gives you extra benefit in the single player? Gives you these war assets. I mean, what's that about?
That is another bit that I don't understand.
That is not game development. That is marketing. That is somebody going, look, we can increase our Twitter follower account, our Facebook fan page like number. If we say, look, like our page, we'll give you 10 war gear or whatever the friggin' hell it is. I mean, what the hell?
And stuff like gash little applications on the iPhone or something. There's like a Mass Effect 3 game that you download, and it's like some sort of horrid sideways platform or something crap like that.
Yeah.
And if you complete it, then you get a little bit of war gear or something for Shepard. That side of things, that's pure marketing, and it's also pure bullshit as well.
It's absolute pure sewage.
It's ridiculous. But my biggest problem, I mean, I don't like that at all, but why would you? The biggest problem I've got with this is that it just feels like such a half-arsed effort. It feels like they've wanted to say, I mean, they've sort of hinted before that they wanted to do multiplayer with Mass Effect, but it feels like someone sat there and gone, okay, so we've got Mass Effect 1, really popular, did really well. Mass Effect 2, really popular, did really well. Mass Effect 3, it's got to be good, but we would like how do we get multiplayer in this game without doing anything strenuous? I know, 4-player survival mode.
Yeah, because you see what they've designed the game, ain't they? And then it's like, hang on, how can we increase our sales, from marketing and whatever? And they're like, well, multiplayer sales.
Yeah.
They go back and say, look, we need a multiplayer mode. And they're like, well, we haven't designed a multiplayer mode. Well, I'm sure you can come up with something. using the assets you've got already, and they're like, well, we can do this maybe, and they're like, oh yeah, that's great.
But you can imagine
that's what it stinks of.
Buy the 4-player pack now. That's what, when I read it, that's what I thought. I had in my head I don't know whether it probably won't appear in Steam, will it? I wouldn't have thought so.
Oh, hang on.
After all, EA.
Yeah, they do, don't they? EA publish BioWare, don't they?
Yeah. So
it probably won't.
It probably won't, but that was the first thing that popped into my head when I saw it, when it was 4-player co-op and it's survival mode. What I saw in my head was the Steam store page, Mass Effect 3 at the top, underneath, buy copy, buy 4-pack. And that's immediately, I just thought, that's what they're after. You know, it doesn't... A proper multiplayer aspect of Mass Effect 3 would being able to go through the campaign with 2 people, because the whole point of Mass Effect is the story and it's the characters. Now, the games themselves have been good, but in some ways, in Mass Effect 2, I felt that actually the game being quite good was like a nice little extra to the fact that I enjoyed the story and the characters. You know, it was immersive enough for me that it was like every now and then I think, actually, no, this plays really well, as opposed to, you know, sitting there and playing a really good game.
Mass Effect 3 is supposed to be more simple as well? Well, like simpler FPS-y style of game, like.
Yes, but they seem to have massively overhyped the amount of stuff there is in terms of story, because they said the other day there's 40,000 lines of dialogue in Mass Effect 3. Which is like, what? Excuse me. I want to play a game, not read a book, but, you know.
Yeah, but I bet you what they've done is, right, when you got, like, the enemies, you shoot them and they're going, like, on the radio or something, move to the left, or, like a death sound. And it's like the same one, but because it's in a game like, about 1,000 times itself, that's what they've counted in. Because I can't see there being 40,000 different lines of recorded audio.
It seems a bit daft, doesn't it? It's like,
yeah,
what?
It does.
But, I mean, yeah, so that's basically it. There is multiplayer in Mass Effect 3. It's not co-op, which is what it should be. I'm just going to say it because that's what it should be. If you want... Although, actually, having said that, I have to admit, I was trawling through the Rock Paper Shotgun thread about this, actually, and people were talking about it. And someone said something that actually made me think quite suddenly. They said Mass Effect is one of the few games they've played where they've not once been playing it and thought, you know what, this would be better if there was someone playing it with me. And actually thinking about it, I can't think of any moment in Mass Effect 2 where I was sat there and I thought, oh, you know what, this would be far more enjoyable if Stylosa was playing as well. Because it was that good of a single-player game. Single-player games are fine as long as they are good at what they do, which is what the Mass Effect series has been so far. I can think of quite a few other games I prefer to see co-op in, to be honest. I mean proper co-op, not this four-player crap.
Like things like Elder Scrolls games, then co-op doesn't mean anything in that game. You know, if you were in the world with me, it would make no... It's like, I don't really particularly want you there. You know, I'm on my own adventure here. I don't want you with me. Mass Effect, same story. I suppose you could argue that Dragon Age was the same type of thing, although you did have a party, so it would have fitted in more, a little bit more with that. But then again, with Dragon Age, you get quests and whatnot off your party. You know, you built their story up, so even there it'd be a bit dumb. But like I said, there's loads of other stuff you could, like Space Marine should have had a co-op. I know we keep going on about it, but it should have done.
Orcs Must Die. That would have been fantastic.
Orcs Must Die, yeah. Well, Dungeon Defenders, we actually got an email off the dev today for that, and that's co-op. So we'll be looking forward to doing that because it's the same type of game as Orcs Must Die, but co-op. So it'll be infinitely better, unfortunately.
That's just the way it works.
It's just a game it's just a game that lends itself towards it, doesn't it? Anyway, son, let's bring this to a close. So that has been the gaming news from the 7th to the 14th of October. Or the gaming news that matters to us, so the gaming news that matters to you. Obviously, all PC related. And we hope you enjoyed it. If you want to leave a comment below, then go for it. I'm sure Kirioth will love to read it. And as I say, I get emailed every time to comment, hundreds of times a day, but I love it. And if you've got a certain special comment, with it being ranted or pure, you might just get featured in the Unit Lost forum. So also, this leads me to another point, son. Everybody should sign up to the Unit Lost forum, shouldn't they? Would you like to direct them to the forum, would you? Well, there's also an annotation on the video as well.
Firstly, listen to this, then click the annotation. First thing, www.unitlost.com/forum. /, don't do backslash, that's stupid, /forum.
Good lord. So we've been Stylosa and Kirioth from unitlost.com, and we'll catch you next time, people. Toodaloo.
Good day.